Hi, everyone. Mitch from SportsChatPlace.com and PickDogs.com. Going with a little different format for our show today. Going to still have everyone here with us that's normally with us, but while we don't have any games to pick, kind of just change the format up, see if we can get a little bit more entertaining show. I think that in the other format of the show that we've been doing and what works so well for us during picks, kind of lose our focus a little bit. So this way, everyone is engaged. We keep the show moving right along, which is always a chore, even when there are picks, right? So, what we had is not a ton to bet on, and really not any more news. If anything, a little bit of a setback in the NBA as they said they were going to start practicing, and now the places where they can practice say, well, we don't want to practice. But I honestly think that after this Friday, we're going to start to see things open up across the nation. And I think once that happens, I think we'll start to get a much, much clearer picture as to what's going on with sports. But one sport that hasn't wavered as far as if they're going to go or not is the NFL, and the Patriots kicker or the drafted kicker is now going to remove the tattoo, and I tell you that's a very, very painful process to do. So better hope he makes that team. If not, it's just going to be a lot of pain. But just whatever. Today is probably our last day, hopefully, that we're not in the new studio. Most of the studio has been built out. I'm still waiting for some equipment, so it's going to be a work in progress as we go throughout the next couple of weeks in there. As we, we're going to have technical problems. We're going to have all sorts of stuff. But, we're going to bring in everybody one by one. Exactly. Steve didn't mute his mic, but so you can hear him. But we're going to bring him in just a second when we start talking NFL. But let's go. We'll bring in Steve. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm good. Hello, everybody.
Steve's not the most technical sound guy. We're gonna get his. Steve is
The
sporting
sub
his pick dog shirt. You
I
can't
got my new uniform on,
can't
folks,
really
finally.
see the whole thing, but you can see he sort of has the pick dog shirt on there. That's all
Yeah.
camera stuff. But so we've gone over the NFL draft pretty much up and down. We had some, the undrafted free agents. Jeff Thomas, my guy, to be an All-Pro, that was undrafted, was picked up by the New England Patriots. So we'll have to see exactly how he turns out. A lot of my other guys, Shaq Quarterman, Garvin, all drafted late, but those are guys that we know are going to make an impact. And DJ Dallas, after Mel Kiper said would never be a starter in the NFL. We're going to see what that goes over with DJ Dallas, who's one tough guy. Started as a wide receiver at Miami and played running back, but according to Mel Kiper, he's not fast enough to be an every down back in the NFL. I'm sure he didn't like Travis Homer's pickup last year either until he started blocking punts, running in touchdowns, and doing what Miami guys do. But Steve got just a new look now at the odds to win in in across the NFL, but not a ton has changed here. So we're just going to go through real quickly. And then the format of the show is going to be we're going to have Steve, then we're going to have Chris, then we're going to have Rod, everybody individually, just this one-on-one thing. Then we're going to bring everyone back for the sim picks at the end of the show. So we have in the AFC East, the Patriots still favored to win this division at plus 115. The Bills plus 160. The Dolphins and Jets both at plus 700. To me, I hate to say it, but the value here is the Jets and the Dolphins. Either one.
Yeah, I mean, especially with those those odds. I think they both improved themselves. We talked about the other day. You said that you wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins could pull off winning the division. They won 5 games last year with absolutely nothing, and obviously they've improved their team. I said on the show the other day, and I'll hold firm. I think the streak for the Pats is over, winning the division. I think Buffalo is going to be my pick to win the division. But to your point, Jets, Dolphins, I think have the most value.
I'm a
You know,
value
so
guy. So, to me, I don't see how the Bills aren't favored to win this division. But
neither do I.
it's kind of I say that, and then at the same time, I'm also the guy that says you are the champ until someone beats you. Anyways, we
Sure.
got the Ravens at -200 to win the North. Of course, Ben Roethlisberger will be back for the Steelers this year. These young running backs have another year under their belt. Not just Connor, but Benny Snell as well. They added some good guys. Minka Fitzpatrick now for the full season. They added some help at wide receiver, really where they needed the most help. Steelers +350. The Ravens at -200 after losing in the playoffs. Of course, the Ravens got a lot better also. But when you have a team that's that good and that deep and that close to going to the Super Bowl and having the best record in the NFL, do you have room for these guys? I mean, that's really what it comes down to on the roster, and someone's going to have to go, to make room for these guys. So
Yeah.
the Ravens at -200, clear-cut favorite. The Browns, who've been the sexy choice the last few years, back down to reality at +500, and the Bengals, Joe Burrow, not looking like immediate help, at least to the bettors, +2,000, 20-1 on your money.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Baltimore would be the favorite. No question there. Steelers, I think there's value there. Like you said, Roethlisberger's coming back. They've Minka Fitzpatrick has helped solidify the defense. But you know what? At 500, the Browns, they got talent. And they got a new coach, Stefanski, and new regime in the front office. I'm not saying that's going to translate, but they're not the Bengals. And if you're going to throw a couple bucks down, maybe the Browns surprise this year finally.
The only thing that I'm upset about your call there is that I'm not your bookie. Anyways, we got the AFC South next.
Baltimore is the lock, and not the lock, but
I would say the Browns
they're
finish
pretty.
dead.
They're pretty good.
I'd pick the Browns to finish dead last in that division. Just like I
I
always
think the
They
Bengals.
stink. They STINK stink.
Huh?
They got serious problems. You got the AFC South with the Indianapolis Colts favored to win the division slightly over the Titans, who made it to the AFC Championship game last year. Boy, a lot forgotten there. And I think, when you look at what the Titans did, losing a lot early, winning a lot late. And for some reason, Indianapolis with Phil Rivers, who throws interceptions with regularity, there. And then you got the Texans, who have pretty much dominated this division for the last 10 years at +350 after trading away DeAndre Hopkins. And the Jaguars +1,400. Who do you like here?
Oh, I mean, I definitely don't like the Jaguars here. But to your point, the Colts, Philip Rivers throws bunches and bunches of interceptions, and I don't foresee that changing whatsoever. I think I got to stick, even though they traded DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson's a factor. It's between Houston and the Titans, so I think I'm going to go with the Titans. I don't see Tannehill having the magic that he just completed this season with. I think he's too inconsistent. And then teams focus on Derrick Henry more. So I'll go with the Texans here.
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs -400 to win the West. The Chargers +900 with Justin Herbert. Denver Broncos +800. And this is a team that finds ways to win and lost a lot of very, very close games last year. And then the Raiders, their first year in Vegas, at +1,000 in that new stadium. John Gruden's team trouble winning on the road last year. Not bad at home.
No. Kansas City Chiefs all the way.
Yeah, I think that's dead money as well. I think kind of like Denver or the Raiders in this one. I'll go over it more as we continue on with the show, but I just think when you win the Super Bowl, every game you play is the Super Bowl for whoever you play, especially those 8 road games that you're going to be playing. Meanwhile, the
That's right.
NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys are favored to win this division at plus 110. The Eagles plus 135. The Giants plus 700. And the Redskins at plus 1200.
I mean, the Mike McCarthy factor, I'm going to take the Cowboys here. Um, it's probably the worst division in football right now, I got to say, with the Giants and Redskins, and the Eagles are inconsistent. Cowboys are inconsistent as well. But, we got some pieces in place. Ezekiel Elliott, I think McCarthy can step right in as the new head coach. We changed up the defense with Mike Nolan, who's a respectable defensive coordinator. We've added some beef on the defensive line. So I think the Cowboys have more talent than any team in that division. And even though I'm a Cowboy fan, I'll take the Cowboys here to win that division.
I don't think they have more talent than anybody. Anyways, we got the end.
It's in the NFC East I'm talking about.
I just don't understand how people can claim that all of a sudden they draft CeeDee Lamb and they have the best wide receiving core in the NFL. Michael Gallup, I'm sorry, is not part of the best wide receiving core in the NFL. And Amari Cooper, maybe if you go on, take his one game that he plays all season, and put it in there, then maybe you're starting to talk like, 17th, 18th ranked wide receiver core, but
I didn't say they had the best wide receiver core.
This is what's being kicked around. Meanwhile, the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings at plus 160. Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, and the Green Bay Packers at plus 175. Matt Patricia from the Lions at plus 550. And the Bears plus 400.
The Bears. I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I think with Cousins coming back, Dalvin Cook has been a great addition for them at the running back. The defense is solid. So I'll take the Vikings here. Pack coming in second, of course, with, maybe 10-6 this year. I don't see them having the year that they had last year. The other two teams, no chance.
Last up, we got the NFC South. We got the Saints and the Bucks are both plus 100, even money to win this division. Two teams, the Falcons at plus 1,400, and then the Panthers plus 2,500 with the guy who has turned it around everywhere he's been. 7 defensive draft picks.
Yep.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take him more than a year to turn this bad boy around. I'll tell you that. I'm going to go with the Saints. I think the Saints are still loaded as long as Brees stays healthy, and they'll not ride him as much. He'll get a lot of rest, etc. Saints are pretty damn good, so I'm going to take the Saints here.
All right, so we're going to recap Steve's picks for you. He took the Buffalo Bills. He took the Cleveland Browns. He took the Houston Texans. He took the Chiefs at minus 400. Took the Dallas Cowboys, a little bit of a homer pick there. He took the Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. And I got to say, in the NFL, teams go from worst to first more than any other sport. But anyways, thanks, Steve, for joining us. We'll have you back at the end for Sim Picks if you want to join us. Don?
Got it.
See you tomorrow.
You got it, buddy.
New format works out. All right.
Bye.
Steve Monahan from Sports with Mono, Mono podcast. Anyways, we're going to continue down the same lines. Let us know how you like the new format. Definitely appreciate it if you guys can give us a little bit of feedback. I think already I'm starting to see maybe some changes that we're going to make, and we'll talk about it for tomorrow's show. But let's bring in Chris Ruffalo, the Puck Dog, writer at sportschatplace.com, pickdogs.com. And, it's like I always say, like I'm on a diet. I've said it, a bunch. And, it's like the problem I have with a diet is they don't let you eat a lot of cheese. And, I always say that people that say you got too much cheese on there are not your friend. Chris, I don't ever have that problem with. But anyways, Chris, post-draft NFL, a lot of changes on the rosters. Some changes here. We went through with Steve, and we'll go through and get your quick take on the AFC East. We've got the Patriots are the favorites here. Uh, the Bills are plus 160. The Jets and Dolphins, both the big dogs here, plus 700. You think the Patriots can hang on to their dominance of this division?
I was gonna say if you ask me who's gonna win this division, I would basically say anybody but the Patriots after that draft. I mean, I know they got Jamar Smith and Brian Lewerke at quarterback as well, which was my biggest gripe. But that's adding depth just
Cam
by
Newton is
numbers.
still out there. I think there's a chance.
And there's probably a chance that he could land in New England too. But I still like the Bills to win this division at plus 160. I agree with you. There is value with the Dolphins and the Jets as well at plus 700 apiece. But I just think Buffalo was the playoff team last year. We need to see a little bit of improvement from the Dolphins and the Jets going forward. But from what we've seen, we have enough of a sample size from Buffalo to say they have a chance to win this division.
Bill Belichick, obviously still there with the Patriots, and we're going to see exactly how many wins he is worth, because I have said all along he could win with anybody. But it's not just Tom Brady that they've lost. They've lost a few of these other pieces as well. We move to the AFC North, where the Ravens, did the Chiefs figure did the Titans figure something out about the Ravens that other people are going to be able to copy? Or the Ravens going to keep on rolling? Obviously, they had the best draft. They added a lot of talent, a lot of big names, and always 5 to 10 spots lower than where these guys should have been drafted. And that's what the Ravens have done forever. But minus 200 odds, Ben Roethlisberger, we just talked about it back in Pittsburgh, Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and Steve Monahan, I don't know. I think gotta wonder what he's thinking there with Baker Mayfield and the boys. Chris, you gonna join Steve on Baker?
No. I'd rather light a dollar bill on fire. Just essentially the same thing if you back the Cleveland Browns, I think. But no, unfortunately it's dead money. But I do think the Ravens win this division again. The Steelers are nice at plus 350, but I don't think they got better with their draft. I mean, say Chase Claypool's the best player in their class is a little bit of a reach for me. I mean, it's probably the truth, but he's not really going to. I don't think he's going to help that receiving core at least in his first year. They still have James Conner and Smith-Schuster, but I don't think that's enough to dethrone Baltimore. I think Baltimore, adding Patrick Queen, J.K. Dobbins, Justin Matabuki in the draft, I think they're still the favorite.
To me, the Steelers have a strong defense, and you got to just remember that's not just what they added in the draft. They also get Ben Roethlisberger back, who's held his own against the Ravens over the years, and as tough Ravens D's as they have now. You go to the AFC South, and this one, the Colts, the light favorite here over the Titans. Obviously, the Texans, gigantic value here. People are hating that DeAndre Hopkins trade, and really, letting the Texans know about it at the window, and the Jags, well, people expecting them to still be the Jags. Leonard Fournette was not traded on draft day, as a lot of people expected him to be.
Yeah. No, for me, I mean, there is value there with the Texans, but I'm still going to go with the Colts at plus 138. I mean, Rivers never won a Super Bowl with the Chargers, but he takes a trip to Indianapolis, and now he gets a better offensive line. He's got T.Y. Hilton. He's got Michael Pittman coming in now. He's got Marlon Mack in the backfield. And they've got a solid defense. I think last year for the Colts was just having the shock of Andrew Luck retiring when you were going in thinking that he was going to be your guy, and then now you were left with Jacoby Brissett, who didn't do all that badly. It was just kind of a culture shock, I think. So I think the Colts have the best chance here to win the division.
And we go to the AFC West, where the Chiefs are minus 400. Anyone knock them off here?
I don't think so. I would still, from a pick standpoint, I would take the Chiefs, but from a value standpoint, I would put a couple bucks on the Chargers and the Raiders. I think the Raiders have a shot, maybe a new change of scenery. Maybe that'll help. They got their receiver in the draft. The Chargers
defense is still really good. It's still
they still got Joey Bosa.
This is a team that went 12-4 and then 4-12. I mean, who knows, right? They've lost Melvin Gordon, right, and also no, they still have Melvin Gordon, correct?
No, they have Austin Eckler, but I still think the Chargers are at least worth a punt at plus 900.
Well, then we go to the NFC East, where this was easily the worst division in football last year. It was no who wants it, and the answer was nobody.
Yeah.
I don't see. I can't bet nearly even money on a team in this division. I think you're better off going the opposite direction. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm not comfortable backing Dwayne Haskins or Daniel Jones here because we know how much we love them.
But
But
I think of those two, Haskins is clearly the better quarterback. I mean, he's
yeah,
clearly better. I mean, it's.
yeah,
I don't think I honestly didn't think Haskins was that bad. I don't know. I'm missing like how bad people think Haskins was, and maybe I'm dead wrong here. But I think he has the big upside there. I think that
yeah,
we didn't see the best of Haskins, but we've seen what he can do in college if you give him a little bit of time and some receivers that can catch and run routes. I mean,
yeah.
he throws well to the route, and it's like I don't know. I kind of like the Redskins, here, but that's me.
I know there's not a ton of value here, but I'll still go with the Cowboys at plus 110. I just think they have one of the better drafts, and I think that's going to at least help give them a bit of an edge over the Eagles. It's just a 2-horse race, and I think Dallas has the little bit extra push there.
We go to the NFC North. The Vikings at plus 160. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers, probably going to have a little something to prove there at plus 175. Lions plus 550. Matt Patricia fighting for his job more than likely, and the Bears at plus 400.
Yeah, for me here, I'm going to go with Green Bay. I mean, I know I pounded them on the show on the weekend, saying they had the worst draft, and that's true. I mean, you didn't get Aaron Rodgers,
13-3 before the draft.
But they still have a top tier quarterback. They address their needs at linebacker at least by picking up 3 or 4 of them in the draft. You can still make plays and you can still get the ball to these receivers, and they're not slouch receivers. They're just not any high profile receivers. Any of the top tier
guys. You
guys.
have to look at teams, who they, and this is why when we did the previews at Sports Chat Place and at Pick Dogs for the NFL, I had the guys and made sure they included who they lost, who left the team, who's still there, because some of these teams, it's like, we can look at the draft and it's like how many rookies make an impact, it's a handful. It is a handful, and it's normally 1 or 2 of the name guys, and 1 or 2 of the guys that you never heard of or were undrafted. The Allen Hurns guys. There's been a bunch throughout the years, tons. Keep going. We go to the NFC South. The Saints and the Bucks, co-favorites. The Bucks haven't been in the playoffs in about 150 years. Yet they're even money to win the division outright in this very, very tough division, because even the Falcons, who weren't good last year, still went on a run, at one point during the season. And then you have the Panthers with Rule, who are going to be better. They're going to be better than they were last year.
Yeah. For me, I think the pick here to win the division is the Saints. I know it's at even money, but from a value standpoint, I'm definitely up to put a couple bucks on the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The Falcons and the Panthers. Excuse me. I mean, the Falcons, they still got Matt Ryan, still got Julio Jones, they still got a decent defense. The Panthers, like you said, they did a complete defensive haul in the draft. They've got Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, who's capable. Still got some decent players on offense. You still got Christian McCaffrey, so there's still pieces there. And like you said, Matt Rule's, had the magic touch wherever he's gone. So I wouldn't be opposed
to
putting
him a year though. He's always had a year under his belt when he's gone. Then we go to the NFC West. Niners, Seahawks. I think I forgot this one with Steve. We'll have to get him when he comes back. Niners, Seahawks. Niners, Mike plus 115. Pete Carroll plus 225. Probably right where he wants you. The Rams at plus 400. Jared Goff with really his supporting cast is getting worse and worse every year. And then you have the Cardinals at plus 700, who I thought were a lot better last year than what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is one of those things where it's just like the short favorite almost seems like the pick, but I'm going to go with the Seahawks here at plus 225. I think they've got, solid defense once again. They still got Russell Wilson who can make plays in the clutch, and I think it goes down to those two teams again in this division. And we saw Seattle. I don't know if they swept them last year, but I'm pretty sure they won at least one of them. They split them. So I think they're fully capable of keeping up with San Fran and even sneaking out the division maybe in the last week of the season.
It came down to the last game of the season last year. It's not like San Francisco ran away and hid in the division. It came down to the last game of the season. Actually, I think Seattle had the ball and a chance to win the game after really playing a horrible first half. It was kind of like the meltdown that we saw of the Niners in the Super Bowl, where they kind of melted down in that game too. It's just Russell Wilson didn't get him at the end. He was close. He was real close, from what I remember. So that's Chris's picks. Chris will be back in just a couple minutes, and we will go back and do sim picks. But I think tomorrow's format, we're going to change it up a little bit. But we had a different format today than we've had in the past. We're just trying some different things. And I think tomorrow I'm going to have another change as well. But, of course, once there's picks again, we'll go back to doing how we did it and, the way that everybody loves just right now, just to kind of keep everybody engaged that's with us on the screen. Also to hear a little bit more from everybody directly as opposed to me, going on these long rants about, Lucky Charms or something. Anyways, thanks, Chris. We'll see you back in a second. And we'll bring in Rod Zawacki. Rod, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and how are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for being so patient with the new format. Rod is our cleanup hitter today. And I think tomorrow what we'll do is what we're going to do, I think the format of the show tomorrow, one of the things that I'm looking at, and the guys, when we bring them back for the sim picks, I'll wait till the guys are back, and we'll talk about it on air, what we would have talked about after the show. We'll see what everybody else thinks. Maybe people have ideas. We're just trying to keep the show a little more interesting, engaged, and so you get to know the guys. And then this way, when we all come back, we're going to do the pick show, which we know thousands and thousands of people watch, but it's like this show. We're just trying to let you know that we're here, and maybe take the chance to let the guys speak a little more than normal. But anyways, Rod, post draft, got the NFC West. We'll go backwards here. We got the Niners are the big favorite. And, Pete Carroll, Seahawks, plus 225. Cliff Kingsbury, I thought he did a nice job with the Cardinals last year. Way better than I ever expected. I thought they were the big surprise last year to me. Plus 700. And the Rams at plus 400. What are you looking at?
For me, I think I'm not going to take San Francisco. Just from what we've seen in the Super Bowl, sure, they have a half decent defense, but it's shoddy. It didn't win the Super Bowl. Got to where they wanted to. I don't trust Garoppolo as far as I can throw that guy. So for me, I'm gonna take Seattle here. I think Seattle, they're always there. Carroll always gets his teams up to play. I'm gonna take Seattle as a value shot. Arizona might. Arizona could be a big surprise. It's a big improvement.
I don't think it's a bad choice there either. And adding DeAndre Hopkins didn't hurt, and they made some smart draft choices to fill some holes. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona, if they don't win the division, I expect them to take at least a step forward again.
To move forward, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I still think Seattle wins this division. I'll take Seattle here at plus 325. I'm looking at. I see it here.
To find a way. Seattle always seems to find a way. We got the NFC South with the Saints and Bucks are both plus 100, even money. So you got to go basically, 17 weeks to make your money back. And then you got the Falcons and the Panthers are both plus 1,400, plus 2,500. So 14 to 1 on your money for the Falcons, who I've looked. I don't know. Matt Ryan looked kind of done last season, and you got the Panthers plus 2,500, who have maybe the best offensive player in the league in McCaffrey, and now they've decided to give him defensive help. I think it's going to be interesting if the Panthers can keep teams on a short field. I think that's their chance, and I think
Yeah,
that's their chance, and that's why they went with the all defense. It's like, well, we have one guy that we know can at least get us some yards, and if we get him on a short field, maybe we can make something happen in the meantime. And I think that's what they're looking at. But to me, plus 100 on the Bucks is just insanity. A team that hasn't made the playoffs in a long time.
And for me, I think I'm gonna skip out the Saints, gonna skip out the Bucks, and I'm gonna take Atlanta here. Give me Atlanta at
I really liked Atlanta last year, so
plus 800.
I think they made some smart moves. I think cutting bait with Devonta Freeman might have been the right thing. He looked a little tired, and I'm not saying he's done. I'm just saying that he looked a little tired, and some guys they need to change of scenery. We saw it with Corey Dillon when he was with the Bengals, and he went to the Patriots. All of a sudden, he was good again, right?
Atlanta looked pretty good at the end of last year. They were actually competing and playing, and I think they just started off bad and got themselves in too far of a hole to
2 years ago last year they started slow, and then they beat the Saints pretty good, and they beat a bunch of teams. So they really
they had some good teams. For the nice value there, yeah, I would take Atlanta.
We go to the NFC North. The Vikings plus 160, the Packers plus 175, the Bears plus 400 have defense, will travel. They went defense again. And I was like that. And the Lions at plus 550, who got DeAndre Swift, your guy.
Yeah. So for me here, I don't like Minnesota. Cousins he's never going to get it done. Sure, he won one playoff game. I'm not. I can never buy
on the road to New Orleans,
Cousins.
though. We got to give him some credit for
okay.
on the road.
He won on the road in New Orleans.
That's a tough building.
Basically, he didn't blow the game in that game. Is what happened. He didn't blow the game like he normally does. He didn't throw a pick. He didn't throw. He was actually conservative. He made sure he wasn't the guy that caused the loss.
His defense played well. Defense played well against that Saints offense.
Oh yeah, big time. So I'm gonna take a shot here with the Bears. Give me the Bears at plus 425. I see it at here.
I think
I'll take a shot with the Bears.
To me the Vikings are tough because to me Diggs really made up for a lot with Cousins. He made up for a lot, and I think Jefferson's gonna be a star. I loved him, in our draft specials, and I loved him on our draft day, and I loved him, last year at LSU, and I love all those things about him. I just think that I don't think he's a guy that's going to be able to come in and carry the team by himself. He's a good wide receiver, and he's going to be able to make plays like Diggs. Oh, yeah. But he's not Julio Jones, and he's not AJ Green. He's Jordan Jefferson. He's going to outrun some guys. He's going to run some good routes. He's going to do all those things. But with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback, you need to be able to do a few more things. And I think it takes a few years to become, Diggs and, where defenders are just accidentally falling down and you're going to the championship game. It's like those things don't happen for rookies. Those things happen for guys like Diggs who it takes a little bit to do that. So to me, it's like I think the Vikings are going to maybe take a step back. Dalvin Cook has had a little trouble staying healthy too for the Vikings, and he's.
I think the Vikings are going to take a huge step back. I don't see them winning this division at all. I think they're going to have a rough year. I think they're going to have a rough year like the Bears did last year.
I think it goes back to this black and blue division. So the Bears are plus 400. I'm fine with that too. And I think with Nick Foles, if they keep him within himself, he's going to be an upgrade.
All right.
2 years ago.
That's all the Bears need is an offense just to keep rolling. You don't need to.
2 years ago, the Bears were good. They were a good team 2 years ago. And Eddie Jackson, really one of my favorite players in the whole NFL, is on the Bears. So then you have the NFC East where I don't know, man. A lot of talk here about the Cowboys. I think not replacing Sean Lee was a big mistake. Philadelphia Eagles at plus 135, Giants plus 700, which is crazy how the Panthers are plus 2,500 to win the NFC South, but the Panthers but the Giants are plus 700 with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. I think the Giants should be even money to be drafting
Yeah.
first next year. And I think then we got the Redskins at plus 1,200, who Chris took, and I think I'm going to take them too.
I think I'm gonna take the Eagles here. I think the Eagles.
I think the Eagles fit. I do like some of their draft choices, and I think once you get past the Jalen Hurts pick, if you kind of throw that out, I thought everybody else kind of, if they weren't the best players there, I think they fit. And I think taking Rager was just a matter of Ruggs not being there. He was the second best of that type of receiver, smallish, fast guy. But so I like the Eagles for second. I think Dallas doesn't even make the playoffs. We're going to take the
they can have
AFC West, where the Chiefs are minus 400 coming off the Super Bowl win. Broncos at plus 800. The Raiders at plus 1,000. And the Chargers at plus 900. Chargers have that defense still. Ingram, Boza. I mean, these guys super, super tough. And they added defense again, taking Chris's guy out of Oklahoma, Murray, the linebacker.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Nothing says playoffs like drafting an Oklahoma linebacker in the first round. But they traded up for that pick, and the Chargers also got Herbert. So a little bit, they're going to have it's how much can Herbert step in right away and really contribute right away. I mean, it's going to be the difference. And it's like, I think if he doesn't beat himself the way we saw Rivers do last year, I think that they're going to be better than they were. I just don't know if they're good enough to win the division. I think the Chiefs, it's just a tall order. When you win the Super Bowl, do they have a team that kind of, that can do it on the road like they're going to have to do it? Because when the Super Bowl champs come to town, it's sold out stadiums. It's like, when the Yankees come to town. I lived in Chicago. I lived in Cincinnati, and when the Yankees come to town, it's a sellout, and it's like it's a tough day, for the visitor. And the Patriots did it, but they played a different style of game. The Chiefs, we saw them have to come back a few times in the playoffs against the Titans. They came back in the Super Bowl. Tougher to do on the road than it is at home, that's for sure. But minus 400, the biggest favorite to win a division on the board.
It's more like most likely that they probably win it again. But for me, I'm not going to bet it because I'm not betting on minus 400. But for a little value play on the board, I'm going to take Vegas. I think Vegas is going to surprise some people this year, and I think they actually make the playoffs. First year in, and I think they're good. I think Vegas is going to surprise.
From a straight betting strategy standpoint, if you put $100 on the Broncos, Raiders, and the Chargers, $100 each on those teams, or $10 or whatever, however much you bet on this stuff. On futures, I don't usually bet a lot because I don't want to tie my money up in April that I'm going to get back in January. It's a long time, to tie up your money for, not such a sure thing. And it's like a lot can happen between now and then. As, we've seen players, break their legs stepping out of their car, it happens. And, guys getting arrested for becoming, serial killers. And, who knows how this tattoo removal is going to go in New England. I mean, there could be side effects. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But, it all comes back to, why did you have that tattoo in the first place?
But for sure, anyways, you put $100 on each of those, and one of those other teams come in.
Your risk laughing. Is less than taking the Chiefs at minus 400. Your minus 300 is your liability, and your upside. Fine, you're only going to get plus 700 on the Chargers, plus 600 on the Broncos, and plus 800 on the Raiders. But all of those are better than the minus having to bet 400 to win 100 on the Chiefs. Every single one of those bets are better, except that it is the Chiefs. That's of course the variable there. But I like the Broncos at plus 800 for me. I just think that they played in a lot of close games last year, and I think that the two guys that they got in the top two picks of the draft were. People talk about, this team's draft and that team's draft and, whatever. But these guys had the two can't miss guys of the first two picks that they made, their first and second round pick, they had the two guys that will not miss. Hamler from Penn State, I love him, and Jerry Jeudy, of course, who I thought was my can't miss guy of the entire draft. Got the
And Denver really wasn't that bad last year.
no,
They played
they
some good
lost
games
a lot
and
of really
surprised some people.
they lost a lot of really close games. They lost
Those games, yeah.
They lost a lot of close games, and I think when I look at teams that are who are gonna improve and where the value is, I look at teams that lost close games, and of course I look at the turnovers, because the turnovers and the close games are the things that can change the quickest. The
Game
NFL, that close game, it always comes down to one play. That really it was some play, and it's not the last play of the game. It's some play during the course of the game. It could have been that made the difference in the entire game. I watched the replay of the Cowboys-Steelers Super Bowl with Steve Monahan off camera. We can talk about this. But, Jackie Smith dropped the touchdown pass, it hit him right in the chest. But the thing is, the Cowboys had, 59 other minutes in that game to win it. They did. It sucked the wind out of our sails. No. I'll tell you what sucked the wind out of your sails. It was Jack Lambert and Joe Green. It sucked the wind out of your sails. It's like, believe me, it sucked the wind out of a lot of sails. It's like, it wasn't just you guys. They beat you twice. It's like, but it didn't help that Jackie Smith dropped the ball. They had to settle for a field goal. Didn't help at all. But at the same time, it's one play. But I think when you have a close game, like with the Broncos, man, it's a lot of those one plays, and I think guys like Hamler and Jerry Jeudy can make that one play go the other direction in a hurry. Go to the AFC South, and Titans and the Colts. Pretty much splitting hairs here. The Colts at plus 138. Frank Reich did a great job in Philly as the offensive coordinator, right? And look at them now. Just a couple of years later, they can't even. It's 3rd and 7, and they can't even run a 7-yard play without this guy. And so much for Doug Peterson being the genius there. Then you have Tennessee at plus 150, drafting Marcus Mariota, 2nd overall in the NBA draft, in the NFL draft. So the number 1 and 2 quarterbacks of that draft, the 1st and 2nd overall picks. This is how big the NFL draft is, and quarterbacks going 1 and 2. The big talk was Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota. They're both gone, right? They're both homeless, right? Mariota's now in Las Vegas, and it really is the Hawaii connection to Las Vegas. I do believe that's part of the reason they wanted him there. Is Hawaii's Las Vegas is the 9th island here, and the other side of it is the Titans went with Ryan Tannehill, who's certainly not a long-term solution, by any stretch of the imagination, but. They have Derrick Henry, and it's kind of like when the Ravens won with Trent Dilfer. They played good defense, they have a good coach, and they just kind of don't beat themselves. I think that's the whole idea. They also got some receivers that made some incredible catches for them last year. Texans plus 350. This team's always in the playoffs. DeAndre Hopkins was the guy, but maybe they find another guy.
For as long as I can remember, this division's been Colts, Houston, Colts, Houston, Colts, Houston. It's been always down to the Colts or Houston. So who's going to win it? I'm going to take the Colts. I think Colts win it this year.
I think the Colts are going to be tough with Phillip Rivers in there, but I'm going to have to go with the Texans. Deshaun Watson, he's one of those guys that just, to me, finds a way. He just always finds a way, kind of like Russell Wilson.
They're always right there. There's another one. How many Houston close games? Like Watson's any of his losses have so far been lost. 3 losses in the NFL, more than 3 points. And I think all his losses have come by 3 points or less. I think he might have one last year. I think they got blown out in Houston. Yep. And I think that was his first loss that he's ever had. Otherwise, he's been right there. He knows how to get this team right there. But it's going to come down to the Colts and Houston again.
We go to the AFC North, which has always been a division. It just seems that everyone in this division hates each other's guts, which always makes it better. I always think, to me, it's like when you start, before they even kick the ball up, and the teams hate each other's guts, and, It's kind of like Michael Jordan the other night saying he still hates the Pistons. It's like he's been out of the league for 20 years. He's like, I still hate the Pistons, gods. And it's like, so the Ravens are minus 200, the Steelers plus 350. These are always, Steelers Ravens always a marquee game. Then the Browns and the Bengals. Browns at plus 500, the Bengals plus 2,000. I honestly think the Bengals are not that bad. I think the AJ Green missed most of the season last year, if not the whole season, right? So Andy Dalton and, the Bengals had lost, a few years earlier, they had been a playoff team every single year. They had the coaching change last year, so bringing in the new system. I think the Bengals are going to be a little bit better than they were the year before, but I just still don't see them contending. The Browns at Baker Mayfield, and that's a big problem, apparently. I was dead wrong about him. I thought he was going to be good when he was drafted. But meanwhile, for me, it's Steelers at plus 350. I've always been a Ravens backer, but at minus 200, it's going to come down to Ravens and Steelers on the last game of the season or something.
Yeah, and this past year, Steelers no Big Ben. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. The Steelers
Hodges them into a lot of games. It's like Hodges was the quarterback for the Steelers last year. They alternate. Oh yeah. They couldn't find anybody, which is
they tried 3 different guys.
Yeah,
and they still won games.
Yeah,
like.
I mean the Cleveland game, with the Myles Garrett and all that stuff. Mason Rudolph probably doesn't have any more friends in the locker room, so I wouldn't expect him to be around much longer either. Go to the AFC East, where the Patriots still are the favorites. To be the best, you got to beat the best, and the Patriots have been the best. Bill Belichick plus 115, Dolphins plus 700. Brian Flores 5 wins last year. Buffalo Bills plus 160, and the Jets plus 700. What are you thinking here?
For me, I like Buffalo. I think this is the time. This is the year for Buffalo to actually win the division. I think the Dolphins will be improved. I think they can sneak in there and get a wild card into the playoffs, but I don't think they got enough yet to win this division. Not right off the hop. I don't see them coming in here and winning the division right off the hop. They do got.
I like Buffalo here, but I think the Dolphins, like I've said all along, are going to have a shot and probably be a 9-10 win team. I think that they've improved that much.
I do. I think they'll be way improved from what they were last year, and I think they make the playoffs. I give them a wild card spot. I think they make the playoffs this year.
I think so too, with their defense alone. All right, let's bring everyone back and do some sim picks. Of course, Chris is our ringleader when it comes to the sim picks. And before we do the sim picks, just go around real quick. So, who's the one team from the AFC and one team from the NFC that you didn't pick to win the division that you think still makes the playoffs as a wild card? Steve?
Well, we didn't talk about Seattle. Me and you didn't talk about Seattle, San Francisco. I'm going to take Seattle in that division, so I'm going to say San Francisco will be a wild card.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think the Titans get the wild card out of the NFC, and I'll go San Fran as well out of the NFC.
Steve, who do you like in the AFC?
I like the Titans too. I think that's what Chris just said.
How about you?
I like that as well.
Makes the wild card.
I left myself a lot of room here to work with since I took all dogs. So I think the Ravens make it as a wild card, and I'll take the Ravens as a wild card, and I like the Arizona Cardinals to make it as a wild card as well. I think that's a team headed in the right direction.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I like
quietly. I think hopefully we get some early value on them. All All right, Chris, let's do our sim picks for the day. What do we got?
All right, so 12 o'clock Eastern, Steelers at Redskins. Steelers minus 9.5, over under 50. I like the Steelers.
Steelers for me.
Steelers.
Steelers.
3 Eastern, Bills at Ravens. Ravens minus 7.5, over under 55.
Ravens.
I like the Ravens.
Bills. Bills plus 7.5.
Take the Bills.
Oh, Jesus. There's
We lost Rod. He'll be back. Go ahead.
Patriots at Bears at 7 Eastern. Patriots minus 4, over under 51.5.
The
I
Bears.
like the Patriots.
Pats.
Pats.
Bears.
And 10 Eastern, Seattle at Arizona. Seattle minus 9.5, over under 55. I like Seattle.
Yeah,
Take the Cardinals. 9.5. It's a lot.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals too.
So other sports are doing sim picks now too on a daily basis, right? Hockey and NBA too.
Yeah, I know they were doing the NBA here and there, and they were doing NHL here and there. Let's see if there's anything for NBA today.
NBA first one up. We got Memphis minus 2.5 at Charlotte. I'm gonna take Memphis minus 2.5 over Charlotte.
Man, that's
Yeah.
a game where why the NBA supports sports betting because not a lot of people watch that.
Yeah, I like Memphis. I got it at 3.5. But I like
Who's
Memphis.
on these teams? Is it the Ja Morant Memphis or is it the drafting 3rd overall Memphis? Second.
No, I think they're current rosters because the season ended like partway through,
All right.
and they were doing
I like
daily updates.
I like the way Memphis was.
Current rosters.
But Charlotte has some good guys too.
Yeah.
Don't they have Terry Rozier?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. They do. I'll go Memphis too.
Next one up is the Spurs plus 3.5 at the Denver Nuggets.
Nuggets.
I'm taking the Nuggets. Yeah, I like Denver minus 3.5. Those are my top 2 plays of the day on this.
I like the
Nuggets. Nuggets.
See if the Nuggets can
Yeah.
bust up our parlay even in sim games. It's like
There is one more game, but I'm starting to wonder if the rosters are current, but I think the injuries are taken off because they have the Warriors favored by 7.5 over Oklahoma City.
yeah, because Oklahoma City would be without Russell Westbrook, and they were not projected to be good this year at all, and they ended up being good.
Yeah.
And then the Warriors, Curry,
Here's
Tom,
minus 7 Warriors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take OKC.
I'm gonna take the Warriors minus 7.5.
I'll go Warriors.
Yeah, I'll go Warriors as well.
Take OKC, just like I did all season. All right. There you have it. That wraps it up. So, new format for the show. I think I have some suggestions for tomorrow. I think tomorrow we go with one overall topic and then kind of let everybody talk about a piece of the topic as opposed to just going over the same things all over again. So, we'll see what the topic is. I have no idea. We'll figure it out in the meantime, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I do like the new format. I think it just needs a little more tweaking. Maybe
A little more tweaks.
Maybe
That's okay.
Maybe we'll be in the new studio tomorrow. We'll have to see. My camera lens gets here. That's what we're waiting on for my new camera. We'll see ya.
Okay.
Have a good day, everyone.
You got it. See you.